my sweet souls. Welcome to Rebel Fate. I'm Christy, but here I'm just Mama Kris. This is a space where truth breaks chains, where love reclaims power, where your soul finally gets to breathe. If you've been told to worship outside yourself or to fear the fire within, this podcast is your invitation to remember who you really are. So let's wake up together. Hello, my little chickens. I love you guys so much. Mama Kris here, helping you hatch out of your prison shells. I thought that was funny anyway. Thank you for those of you who tuned in to the very first episode where I talked about Rebel Faith and started getting into my life and how I came to be the liberated soul that I am today, excited and eager to help you become liberated as well and free. So I was last talking about being 18 years old and going from little Georgia girl to flitting around on tour buses and airplanes with the big sex, drugs, rock and roll community bands. I was dating a guy in a famous band, and I was 18 years old and living that lifestyle. But remember, I was a Christian, and I was having sex outside of marriage and doing drinking. And even though I didn't do drugs, like I said, I didn't inhale. I did smoke pot. I was really beating myself up very badly about my lifestyle because it wasn't Christian, it wasn't proper, and I left the church, and I was having a lot of turmoil inside, really having the teeter-totter struggle going on, to the point to where I was dancing one night, and the weirdest thing happened to me. A guy comes to me in the middle of the club, and he grabs my arm and he says, "You don't belong here. Go and get your things and leave now." And he let go of my arm, and I kind of shook my arm away from him. And then I turned around and he was gone. And I went to the dressing room, and I'm just sitting there going, what the heck just happened? So, I got my things and left, and I really started, soul searching, and I ended up calling my sister, Sheila. Hi, Sheila. And getting in with a family in Ojai, California, a pastor and his family, waiting to get into a place called Teen Challenge. And I wanted to go to give my life to God and to serve and to become a pastor, become a minister. And I felt like that was my calling. I really, really felt with all my heart that that's why I was born, and that's what I was meant to do. That from the time I was a little girl, I just always felt that just brewing inside of me. And so I really, I do know that I was meant to go through that, and that I was meant to experience all that. But I did. I got into Teen Challenge, and I have to say, it was amazing. I met the most amazing women that were coming out of drug addiction, out of prostitution, out of just horrible abuse, you name it, and the sweetest souls that you could ever meet. And it was an amazing experience. So I'm going to cut to, if you are drug addicted, if you are in prostitution, if you are gay, whatever it is, if you are beating yourself up about it, and if you're allowing other people to beat you up about it, please, I beg you, stop. You are okay. You are the essence of God, and you are having an experience. Let those chains go. If you have a good heart, you're a loving person like these beautiful ladies were, it was so touching to be a part of that and to watch them get the love of God in their hearts. So trust me when I say I understand the role of good churches, because good churches have done so much good with helping people understand God's love. As long as it's understood in the right way, And there's a lot to be discussed about that we're going to go into in later episodes. I hope you guys will continue watching, because we're really going to go down some big rabbit holes from the Old Testament, New Testament, heaven and hell, aliens, and how it all fits together, because it really does. Science, quantum physics. It really does fit together. It's coming from someone who is in the fifth density. You really get an eagle's eye view, like a more of a source view of the big picture. Now, I'm not claiming, please believe me, I do not know everything. I'm not claiming to know everything, and I'm not asking you to even believe me. If it resonates with you, like I always say, that's great. If not, that's all good. But I gave my heart and soul to Teen Challenge, and I ended up transferring back to Sanford, Florida for the college where I was studying to be a minister. And I learned the great teachings. I learned the Bible. I've given my entire life to learning the Bible and studying the teachings of Jesus and everything that he was trying to portray and convey. But now I see it all clearly. Like, there were so many questions I had back then that no pastors could answer. And still, a lot of them can't answer them today. But now, everything that Jesus was teaching makes such perfect sense now. But even going to Sanford, Florida to Teen Challenge, it was great. Again, I met a lot of amazing people. We went and sang in churches and just lovely, lovely people. So if you are in, a religion of any sort and it's serving you and your soul, the community, don't stop. You don't have to stop. I'm not in here to break anyone out of their religion or anything. I'm not in here to change anybody. If it keeps your frequency high, if it keeps you happy, if you're passionate about it, then do it. If it works for you and it makes you happy, do it. But if it's keeping you in chains and is bringing you down and it's draining you and it's lowering your frequency, then my friends, it's time for a change. And I can help you do that. But Teen Challenge, back in Florida, hooked back up with the old boyfriend and the rock band. Now we're talking like it's 94. Yeah. 1994. And I saw a lot of hypocrisy going on because I was in like the women's dorms and we had the men's dorms and we were on like a campus. It was like a pastor institute campus. And there was just all kinds of things running amok, as you can only imagine. I'm sure you can. So I just started my frequency started coming down. I was just like, it seems like every time I get really, really involved with a group of people in the church, crap starts happening. And I'm sure a lot of you churchgoers know exactly what I'm talking about because we're humans and we all make mistakes and we can try to be perfect all we want to, but it's not easy to do when you're operating in a third density type of mind frame. And we'll get to that again later. So I left and I ended up going back into dancing. I ended up going back into acting or trying to anyway, as much as I could. And ended up moving to Los Angeles to act. And I actually ended up at Fox Studios doing some background stuff for NYPD Blue back then. We're talking like, this is 95. And I was really excited. Like, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm getting there and blah, blah, blah. And I met a guy and I get pregnant. I have a beautiful 28-year-old son today. His name is Christian Micaiah Jennings. Hi, baby. And I always told myself, girl, you better watch yourself, because if you get pregnant, you are having a baby, period. I don't care what. So that was for my own conviction and my own personal conviction. So I got out of acting. I got enrolled in the Modern Institute College of Technology for X-ray technician and medical assisting. And I was trying to go to church. It was not really happening. I was really involved in the music scene with my the father of my son, and it was still crazy times in LA. But we ended up getting married and moved to Seattle. Long story short, with our 2-year-old, and when he was 5, I moved here to Phoenix, Arizona. I came back to Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I live now, and I love it. I love Phoenix. Hi, everybody in Phoenix. And so I'm back here, and it's 2001. I'm sorry, 2002. So I had started a band in Seattle, and I was singing in the band. It was called Nectar, and I loved it. I loved performing. I was really enjoying it. But it was crazy in Seattle, and I ended up coming to where my sister was here in Phoenix and moving here with my 5-year-old son. And I started bartending and working at a place called Marley's Sports Bar and Grill. And I met a huge group of friends, and we all rolled together, and it was an absolute awesome blast. And so from there, my marriage didn't work out, and I've been married 2 other times since then. But in my second marriage, I was really involved in the church. Like, I had a son with him, and we were both singers on the worship team, and really, really involved in this mega church. And there were a lot of really, really great times. There was a lot of hypocrisy, of course, but I ended up leaving that church, and this was in 2015. Some say a shift happened in 2012 that took Earth from 3rd density to 4th density, or 3rd dimension to 4th dimension. And I felt that shift happen, I can honestly say. And if you guys remember, that's when the Mandela effect happened, and everybody started seeing things differently. Because I believe reality does shift. It shifts all the time. And we're just now becoming scientifically aware of the fact that it's shifting all the time. And that not only is it shifting, but we have the power by our perception and perspective to control what it shifts into. And I'll go more into about that later. But yeah, so I was on my own. It's 2015. And I started getting memories back. I got the memories back of seeing the ship when I was 3. And I had guides. I call them my guys. Take the D out of guides, and you have guys. I call them my guys. I started having conversations with God. And I know it sounds crazy. Trust me, I know. And you guys can write about how crazy I am all you want to. Have a field day. I'm over it. But I was being shown things that I had tucked in the closets of my consciousness. And I started remembering again, like seeing the ship when I was 3, and a lot about the dreams, the pre-birth dreams that I was having, about spinning in a golden light and unconditional love, just consciousness, just in unconditional love. Like, you could be there 1 billion years, and if time was linear, and you wouldn't care. Like, when you taste that, you don't ever want to leave. Like, you don't ever want to experience anything. You're home, you're good, and nothing else matters. And I knew that. That's why Earth was so hard for me. And that's why I searched so hard. Like Jesus says, it's the one that drops everything in search of the pearl. And I did. I let go of everything. And I found the pearl. I came into Christ consciousness. And my reality is a beautiful, beautiful place now. And I'm going to be sharing so much about that reality with you guys. And it's meant for you to attain it too. Nobody is better than anybody. Nobody is better than you, and you are not better than anybody. We are all one in God, because God is all that is God. Nothing can exist outside of God, not even the darkness. And when you learn to embrace that and embrace the hard things that you went through, even the things that you're mad at yourself about, just realize it's all for experience and embrace it and thank the experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's 2015 and I start going to clubs again. I'm living in Scottsdale. I'm clubbing and I'm not really having anything to do with the church at all, because by then I'm just sick of the church, But I'm still very, very much Christian, very much ordained minister, was able to do weddings. I just didn't want to be in the church with people, because people are flawed and hurt people, and churches have hurt people. You know what I'm saying? So my guys were showing me these things, and it was just like, it was starting to be revealed to me that there's more to the story than I had been told growing up in the church. Just that little itty bitty light was there. And I was just like, So I started like researching a lot, and I became just, I don't know, just like, some people might want to go out and go play tennis or go bowling. I just want to research. Like, all I do is research. I totally get off on it. Totally love it. And I still do it today, and I'm still learning so much all the time, because as technology is increasing, we're finding out so much more that there is to know. So it was in I ended up getting married my third time, my third and my last. Bet you right there. My third and my last time getting married. That's when COVID hit. Everything shut down. I got furloughed. So I'm really able to research. I don't have work to do. All I can do is research. And I would go out on my patio every morning, and I would always say, "Good morning, Jesus. Good morning, Father. Good morning, Holy Spirit." And do my yoga stretches, and that would be how I would start my day. So I started going out there I want to know the truth. I want to know the whole truth, and I don't want to be deceived. Like, I could just feel it in the very essence of my bones that there was something wrong. Something was very, very wrong. And I did that for about 2 months. And then one day I'm in the kitchen just doing my thing, blah, blah, blah. And something comes over me, and I grab the kitchen counter, and it was like I was like electrocuted for like 20 seconds. I just was holding onto the counter, and it felt like a fire hose. Someone explained it like this, because listen, I'm a Christian. Anything outside of the Bible and Christianity is the devil, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'm a minister. I knew something was up, but I didn't look at no tarot cards or no Reiki or no psychics, nothing. I mean, it was the devil. I wouldn't look into it. But here I am grabbing the counter, and this shot like a fire hose of water just goes up the back of my spine. And I'm just like, for like 20 seconds, and then it ends, and I let go. And I go, barely walk over to the chair to sit my butt down, and I was just like, what happened to me just now? What was that? I had no idea what happened to me. But all of a sudden, my dear friends, I am not embellishing. I am raw. I am honest. And I am not going to lie to you at all. I promise you, because it's on my own head if I want to operate in that way. I knew things. Things had been downloaded into me instantly. I knew about the church. I knew about the lies, the great deception, being taught that that we were dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking sinners. I knew about Yahweh. I could see things, and I knew things, and it all made perfect sense for once in my life. things, after all the studying, all the learning, all the teaching, all the questions that were never answered, boom, they were answered. And it took me a while to recover, but I'm going to tell you right now, I was elated. I was elated. It was like getting born again, saying the Jesus prayer on steroids. I mean, it was so freeing and liberating. And I was just looking at everything new. And then I started researching out of that freedom into things like listening to mystic teachings and listening to, which Jesus was a mystic, by the way. He was an Essene. He wasn't a Jew. And he was teaching mystic teachings. The whole thing that he was teaching was about doing unto others as you would have from the very powers that he had. You can Google this yourself. I'm not lying to you. He was a mystic. He was an Essene. They're just not teaching that in the churches. And I just was walking around just free to learn and to grow, to look up Egyptian hieroglyphics, to look up the new unearthings they were finding in scrolls, reading the other parts of the Bible that weren't entered into the canon. I was free finally to do all of this, and I just started absorbing like a sponge. And that brings me to when I finally just realized that I was onto something and it was way bigger than me. And that's when my 5-year journey began that led me to here and now, to where I'm liberated. I'm actually in Christ consciousness and liberated. So there is where I'm going to stop for now. And I hope that you will stay tuned for my 3rd episode, where I'm going to go more into where that liberation took me and the 5 years that led me up until now. After that, we're going to be interviewing people. We're going to be going more into the little Easter eggs that I've been giving you guys about what those things mean that were downloaded to me. So please stay tuned, and just always remember with all of my heart, Mama Kris loves you. Bye. If this stirred something inside of you, it's because your soul remembers. You were never meant to live in fear. You were meant to create, to embody, to radiate. Thank you for walking with me today. This is Rebel Faith. I'm Mama Kris, and I'll be right here reminding you, you've always been the miracle.